Hola, buenas tardes a todos. Tengo aquí algo de base para que nos pueda guiar en la comprensión de la diferencia entre la voz pasiva y el impersonal. Vamos a comenzar comprendiendo, haciendo énfasis en la idea que regularmente cuando empezamos a aprender español, lo hacemos practicando y construyendo oraciones que reflejan la voz activa, active voice. That's the most common one in our Spanish classes. Let's look at an example of active voice. Hace énfasis, está en particular en el sujeto que hace la acción. So in the active voice, my main purpose is to emphasize who is doing the action. Not only what action is being performed, but also who is doing it. In this case, I have Juan construyó la casa de mi abuelo. Now, if I will report the same idea, but with a passive construction, I will have la casa de mi abuelo fue construida por Juan. So technically, what's the difference? The difference is that passive voice will make an emphasis on the direct object, that is, who is benefiting from the action that is being carried out. In this case, will be my grandfather, more specifically, the house of my grandfather, which was built by Juan. Okay? Muy bien, entonces, en la voz activa, sé que quien hace la acción, es decir, el sujeto es Juan, ¿verdad? Y la acción es construir. ¿Cuál es mi objeto directo? Pues para identificarlo, tengo que pensar en la pregunta, ¿qué construyó? What did he build? Well, my grandfather's house, right? So that will be your direct object. Muy bien, por otra parte, el receptor o el sujeto sería el objeto directo en la voz pasiva. Es la misma idea, es exactly the same idea, right? The same element. It is still la casa de mi abuelo, that is still the direct object. Y la acción es construir. So what I really want you to realize here is how not only our emphasis is in a different element, this is a direct object, but also in terms of grammar, in terms of the structure, we will see that I still have the verb to build, right? However, instead of directly conjugating it, I am going to need a base verb. In this case, will be ser. Since the active voice, Juan construyó la casa de mi abuelo, is in the past tense, therefore, this verb, this base verb, which is ser, will also need to reflect not only the past tense, but also the fact that it's in the preterite. For that reason, I have fue. The conjugation that I am reflecting here needs to be fue and not any other like fueron, simply because of the fact that I am talking about a singular object, which is casa. All right? Now, realize, however, that construir will match the object as well. Casa, singular, feminine. Therefore, construida, feminine. Okay, I hope that it's clear. Let's move on then. Entonces, tenemos aquí la manera de construir la voz pasiva. We technically have a little formula. Okay, tengo el sujeto receptor, después seguido de ser, más participio pasado. We have already studied the past participle in class. If you need to review it, you can go back to this topic, but we have already been practicing with it. Plus, por, preposition, plus agente. Who is the agent? Well, the agent is the one carrying out the action, in this case Juan, right? So let's revisit our previous example. La casa de mi abuelo, that will be the subject or the receptor, plus ser, in this case fue, past participle, in this case construida, por, that's a preposition that doesn't change, por will never be para, okay, plus the agent, Juan. Muy importante que tener en cuenta, el verbo ser siempre concuerda, ¿ok? Tanto el número con sujeto con el receptor y también el tiempo. About the agent. The agent oftentimes will not even appear in the sentence. Here it is appearing in these sentences that I am showing you here, simply because of the fact that we are revisiting first the structure. However, since the passive voice emphasizes what was made and not who it was made by, it is very common that in many sentences you will not even find the agent. So you wouldn't even find por Juan. You will simply more than likely find la casa de mi abuelo fue construida. My grandfather's house was built. Okay, so that is example we have already seen. Let's move to the next one. El libro de Don Quijote fue escrito hace mucho tiempo. Don Quixote was written a long time ago. As you can see in here is precisely the point I was bringing up a little bit earlier. The fact that I am not even specifying who the agent is. I am not saying who wrote it. I'm just saying it was written. When? A long time ago. Muy bien, un ejemplo más para que podamos comprender precisamente este elemento de estructura. Fíjense cómo tengo primero un ejemplo en voz activa. So my first example is in the active voice. I have a subject, a verb, and an object. Pablo abrió las puertas. So that is an example in the active voice. Let's change that into the passive voice. Just observe how the verb remains in the second place, right? However, the other two elements will pretty much swap. The object is going to take place, it's going to be shown or reflected at the beginning of the sentence, while the subject or agent will appear at the end, okay? In that way, in the passive voice, I will have las puertas fueron abiertas por Pablo. The doors were open. Please notice how in the verb it remains the same essence, the same action, which is to open. However, fueron and abiertas are both in plural forms. Why? Because I'm talking about the doors. Muy bien. Now, it must be fueron, right? Not serán, not son, obviously, because first of all, my verb, my reno, abrió, is conjugated in the preterite. As such, ser must be conjugated in the preterite. And it must also agree with the fact that puertas is in the plural form. That's why I have fueron. Abiertas. Pay a lot of attention to abiertas. It is also in the plural form and in the feminine form. Why? Because we're talking about las puertas. Plural, feminine. Therefore, fueron abiertas. Do not be surprised if you will just simply hear las puertas fueron abiertas. Remember that in most instances, the agent will not appear, given that what matters here is what was done as opposed to who did. Tenemos también algunas restricciones, ¿ok? Recuerden, generalmente no se usa la voz pasiva con verbos de percepción. Anything that reflects perception in terms of verbs, you will not be able to use a passive voice. Por ejemplo, ver, oír, escuchar, sentir, etc. Tampoco se usa con verbos de emoción como querer, odiar, temer. Tampoco se usa con los tiempos progresivos como está, gerundio, like está viendo, está haciendo, etc. Y solo el objeto directo puede ser el sujeto o el receptor de la oración pasiva. ¿Ok? Nunca, nunca con el objeto indirecto. Entonces son cuestiones. Bueno, es importante también saber cómo formar oraciones de pasiva refleja con entes animados. Para ello, tenemos aquí una estructura C más verbo en tercera persona del singular más A más sujeto o agente o receptor. What are the animate objects? Animate objects are, of course, those that are alive. Animals included here. Let's look at some examples. Se asesinó a muchos indígenas durante la conquista de América. It is true. Many Native Americans were killed during the conquest, the European conquest. It is a shame, it certainly is, but it is also true. So I would like you to to pay attention to this example. As you can see, we're not saying who murdered them, who killed them. We're just stating the fact that many of them died, right? Se asesinó a. Esta oración sigue exactamente la estructura de arriba, se, plus verbo en tercera persona del singular, asesinó. As you can see, it's in the third form, right? Asesinó in the preterite, yes, but it will correspond to the conjugation for él, usted, ella, therefore third form, in the singular, of course. Plus a, plus muchos indígenas. The reason why I need a is because that little preposition is emphasizing that I am referring to a being, okay? A human being, or perhaps in this case, for instance, or any other individual, so to speak, that is alive, that has life, for instance, an animal. Se vio al ladrón entrando a una casa blanca. Alright, the only reason why I have an L here is obviously because I am referring to ladrón. Instead of saying a el ladrón, I am simply joining and putting together the preposition a plus the article el. But this a, bottom line, it is still reflecting that I am talking about a human being in this case. Muy bien. Tenemos también la reflexiva impersonal. The only reason why I included in here too is not necessarily because it is included in the book, but since it is a very similar structure, I decided to also have it in here, just in case that you're interested in it. Estas construcciones son equivalentes a, bueno, las indefinidas en inglés, especially when you express ideas such as one, they, it, y también you, en el sentido coloquial, ¿ok? Igualmente vamos a necesitar el reflexivo se y también la tercera persona del verbo para conjugarlo en algún verbo, pero la tercera persona del singular. Lo utilizamos simple y sencillamente para hacer nuestro discurso un poco más formal y también objetivo. Entonces, vamos a ver algunos ejemplos de ello. Por ejemplo, se piensa que el hombre murió en la guerra. It is believed that he died in war. Se vive bien aquí. You can have a good life here. So that colloquial you, not you specifically, but one as a person, people. Primero se va a la derecha, luego se va a la izquierda. Okay, as I said before, it is simply used in a very general way. It's a very general speech, but it is also very common among native speakers. So I thought you might be interested in learning about it as well. Thanks so much for your attention. I hope this helps. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Take care. Bye bye. Considerar. La voz pasiva refleja, es decir, la pasiva con C, también es muy común entre los hablantes nativos. Lo vamos a escuchar mucho entre ya sea contextos hablados y contextos escritos. Bien. Se utilizan principalmente en situaciones en donde no hay un agente específico o bien en donde esa información no importa o no es necesaria. Así tendremos los siguientes ejemplos que vamos a ver siguiendo esta estructura. Vamos a necesitar se, siempre se. It is always going to be se. Plus a verb in the third form, that is él, ella, ellos, ellas, either in the singular or plural. Singular, of course, will be él, ella, usted. Plural, ellos, ellas. Okay? Más un sujeto, un agente o un receptor. Vamos a ver algunos ejemplos. Se han quemado muchas casas durante los incendios forestales. Se quemó la casa de mi abuelo durante los incendios forestales en Oklahoma. Muy bien. As you can see, both of them start with se, just like the little structure that we have up here specifying us. We also have a verb in the third form. In the first example, se han quemado, it is the third form because we can talk about ellos, ellas, casas in the plural, of course, in plural form, se han quemado. In the second example, however, I also have the third form, la casa, ella, but in the singular. Se quemó la casa de mi abuelo. We don't know who started this accident. It was probably nature. Therefore, I am not emphasizing or even including an agent because what matters, remember, is what happened, not who did it. Oftentimes, we might not even know who did it. Let's look at another example. Muchas casas se han quemado durante los incendios forestales en Oklahoma. La casa de mi abuelo se quemó durante los incendios forestales en Oklahoma. As you can see, they are the same ideas. However, what I want you to realize is that you can play around a little bit with the structure, right? In these sentences, in these last two sentences, we can see that we're starting both of them with the subject or the receptor, followed by se, followed by the verb. However, it is following exactly the same characteristics. It's in the third form. Both examples, we have one in the singular, another one in the plural.